thoughts and flowing dreams, knowledge, power, the enlightenment of the spirit, self-aware, self-fulfilling, self-empowering. Open your mind and your heart to the current. Like an amber sun shower, yo God, on this more to his Ken the Bell. And she has the power more so than snap because she fills the gap between the voids in your mind and the chasm of your heart. Because this is the current. This is the current.
Good evening. This is your girl, Kendra Bell, and we are in the final weeks of February 2026. Has this been a month? Has this been a year? Has this been a cycle? It doesn't even feel like this is like only the second month of the year. I don't know. Maybe it's me. But anyway, we are deep in Pisces season, which is a little dreamy, a little softer, but Saturn and Neptune are definitely on deck and are still keeping us rooted in doing what we need to do. So we understand that we are not just dreaming, but we are visualizing to build. And with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, it's giving us that extra something that we would probably felt that we needed, but we're seeing now that we actually have it in abundance and brilliance. So let's get started. So let me start with the architecture of this week. As we close out February, the first couple of days of the week, the moon is in Gemini, which means information overload, which I'm sure you already know about that. We're going to talk about that later. Then midweek, the Pisces sun is squaring Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius. And that is where the beauty of the cost comes into play. Basically, ideology versus the raw truth or the raw beauty, okay? Because this is Black Moon Lilith that is squaring up with Pisces, okay? Then, boom, bam, Thursday, we have Mercury going retrograde in Pisces. So we're in a Pisces sun and Venus is in Pisces. So we're going to be all in our fields, but we don't have to drown in them. So this is really to pause, not to go backwards, but look where you are and get that extra depth that you need to go forward. This is not about going backwards, but looking where you are and gaining that extra depth that you may need for the coming months. And then Mars is going to square Uranus in Aquarius. And this in historical patterning signifies a huge shift. It could signify conflict with nations or countries or people. It can also mean that structures reveal a huge stress point or something breaks apart. Okay, something that is no longer working together breaks. That's basically it. And then on Saturday, we have Mercury, which, like I shared, is retrograde in Pisces, is going to conjunct Venus. And with this, it's more like they're going to work together to heal any thoughts, any words, or memories that you may have around something. But that all depends upon your rising sign. So make sure that you like and subscribe, because I'm going to share how each of these energies hit you based on your rising sign. And of course, if you want a personalized report, leave me a comment, okay? But let's get on with the program, okay? So, as I shared earlier, Monday and Tuesday, the moon is in Gemini, and you cannot build on a crooked part. So, we already see, like I said, information overload. There's a lot of stuff that's coming out. We heard at the beginning of the week that there were certain documents, lots of documents that were hidden or not shared about the current person in the White House. A lot of people, as a result, are sick and tired of the half-truths and the different conversations that a lot of people boycotted the State of the Union, both in anger and in protest, but mainly out of exhaustion. It's like information dump, nervous system being rattled left and right. It's so much going on. So for us, though, we need to make sure that we're not jumping to conclusions about anything energetically as a collective. You know, don't think because someone says that they're doing something or they're moving toward doing something. And this is in terms of the collective in any type of industry or systems that may impact your daily life. Okay. We're still surveying, period. You know, basically people are not agreeing to the same types of contracts anymore. It's like, what's really going on? No. All right. So that we get to Wednesday and Thursday, that's when stuff really starts heating up. Okay. So that's when that gentle sun in Pisces squares Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, and Mercury is retrograde. So let's look at this. We stop looking at the dream and we look at the reality of things. So as I'm sure if you have not heard, there was a fiasco at the BAFTA ceremony, which is basically the UK's equivalent of the Oscars. And a certain thing transpired. And what the ugly raw truth was a cultural awakening of where we truly are not. And that was revealed. And I'm going to do a separate conversation about that. But basically, there's a lot of people trying to dress up or to downplay the situation. But in actuality, it was a complete and utter disrespect of care. And between all parties, including the viewers, both there in the audience as well as across the world. So it wasn't just about race. It wasn't just about culture. It was not just about accommodation, but it's actually the ugly truth that even in these spaces, Black bodies and people that are unique are still utilized for the benefit and the wares of larger systems. But I'll talk about that in another video. I've trailed off. So, as I shared, Wednesday and Thursday, the heat is on with Pisces Sun squaring up with Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, while Mercury is also retrograde. It's all this stuff is going on. We can also look at this with 50 Cent versus T.I. Culturally speaking, you know, what is the raw truth of the beef? You can choose and decide what is the truth behind that beef. You know, the truth is, you want to take it to the studio or not? Or are you going to keep memeing? What's the raw truth about your character as a person, as a human being? Not even talking about any type of gender or race, but as a human being. This was the context of the argument. And of course, we have our soldiers in foreign seas that are representing us, and they don't have adequate toilets, and they are in hostile waters. And so these are the type of things that we're looking at past statements, old type of alignments, agreements, and seeing the ugly truth behind it and what's behind the curtains. And the world is also responding as well. Okay. So when we start moving into Friday, that's a whole nother we have a lot of stacked up energy. Now, historically, many astrologers point to Mars and Uranus clashing like this, coming together like this, is basically signs of war or conflict. You know, it's the flipping of the table. It can be something, it could be a war, but for us, I feel it may be a continued realization about certain things, because we have to understand that this is all happening in Aquarius. Disruption. This is airways. This is news. This is information. This is technology. So it may be a disruption in terms of technology. It may be a reveal that happens via technology. It could be a shift in a narrative or a storyline. I'm not going to go too far, but basically with also on the very next day, we have another alignment that will basically, how can I say this? It will illuminate this moment as something that's actually shortcutting us towards where we're supposed to be. So it's basically, instability is going to show what we really don't need, and how one's long-term intentions will be revealed, and the disruption will correct the path if we don't try to catch what's falling apart. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Okay. So because you need to listen to your rising sign to get a better idea. And if you really want to know how to move and to navigate, you need to get a personalized chart from me. As we close out on Saturday and we close out the month, this is where this Mercury conjunction with Venus in Pisces is going to really braid something together. So this is a good pairing when we take away the other aspects. It's good, but we have to be wise because again, Pisces ruling planet of Neptune is in Aries. So it's a different energy. It's a little more fiery. So we have to be balanced. So basically, this may be a day for reconciliation, right? But what does that truly look like? It could mean boundaries. It could mean creating authentic space. But the real clue is that, do not force it because again, Mercury is retrograde. So it may feel like a good idea, but it may not be aligned properly. Okay. So it could create a situation. So if a conversation or a situation does not create itself organically, don't push it. And the second caveat in this new energy is that if you have to apologize as a negotiation for access, pass, because we want medicine, not disinfectant. And I have a personal story about that just came to my story where I was the one that was negotiating for an apology when at that time I needed it. And I understand why. But now, all these years later, 20-something years later, I've seen now what I did. But we're in a new era where shaming and blaming is not in the order of the day. What is the medicine? What have you learned about yourself? How to show up better in whatever that situation was. That's the only energy, So remember that language can heal, and even if you got to tell the truth, say it softly, say it with love, but keep the receipts, okay? Because we want you to have to be released off of you because March, we're heading towards spring. So we want to just make sure that we have what is built properly, so that when spring comes, we have everything that we need. But we have a lot of data coming at us. We have a lot of acceptances to have, not choices to make. Because I think people, before we can make really, as they say, educated choices, we need to be very sober about what is actually happening and acknowledging our environment, etc. And this last week is really about scanning and then sealing. And again, make sure that you follow me, check, give me a like, and come back for the rising signs because I'm going to give you a step-by-step little guidepost to see how this energy may present itself for you based on your rising sign. But if you really want a map and a guide based on your full birth chart, hit me up. I do one of the best and unique personalized charts you'll ever get. And it's based on cultivating your joy. It is curated with the Black woman and the nervous system and the historical intersections that a person of color may need when navigating this world and using astrology. So have a great week, and I will see you in March. This is Kenda. Peace.